we're gonna start drawing it together, okay? So I'm gonna use my handy dandy homemade ruler, and we're gonna just use 3 of these rectangles again and go from the bottom of the canvas because we wanna figure out where is our head gonna go? Really important. So the best way to do this is I would just kind of, you can see the bottom of my canvas is right here, okay? So I only wanna know like 3 rectangles. I'm gonna hold my ruler. So you can't really see the 4th one because I don't need that one, but from the bottom of the canvas, I wanna just have 3 rectangles. And so you can kind of see that there. And I'm gonna kind of eyeball it to see where's the center. And you can see it kind of ends up right here. And so those 3 rectangles are kind of the body. So it's gonna be the shoulders and the torso. So we wanna put our person's head right on top, okay? So I would say that looks like the middle. And so you don't need to do this on standing up. I would put this flat on a table. It would make it easier so you're not like holding 500 things. And we're gonna basically trace the shape. We're gonna trace the circle there, and I'll use my marker for this. And let me get that in so we can kind of get started. Doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going really, really simple. You'll be using a pencil, so it'll be a little easier if you feel like it's not exactly where you want. But I think this is pretty close. Oh, not bad. Kind of looks like me. So that's gonna be the head. And all of them are gonna start this way, whether you do Van Gogh, Kusama, Frida Kahlo, or Andy Warhol, we've got the head in place. The next thing we're gonna wanna do is make a torso, okay? And again, we're using our pencil. I'm using a marker just so you can see what I'm drawing. And we wanna give it a little bit of a neck, okay? A little bit of a neck, otherwise they're gonna look like this. It's not cute. So we wanna give them a little bit of a neck. So I'm just gonna stand in front so I can see exactly what I'm doing. I'm gonna draw 2 lines. We're gonna do a little neck here and a little neck there, okay? That's the neck, pretty simple. Now that we have a neck in place, we're just gonna draw some shoulders and a torso, okay? And again, we're using our pencil because we can change things when we start painting. But what I'd like you to do is kind of draw a shoulder, and then just go straight down. Okay? Easy, very simple. See how it kind of looks like me? It's interesting. All right, so we have our basic figure with the head, a little bit of a neck and a body. And now I'm gonna try to show you guys how to draw a picture of Vincent Van Gogh. So you may recall he's an artist that is reported to have chopped off his ear. So we're gonna use some of those elements. He also had he was known for having like a reddish orangish beard. So like I said, with the other artists we're painting, they all kind of have a look. So we're gonna really take advantage of those distinct features and incorporate them to make it look like Vincent Van Gogh. So this one is a little different. We're gonna keep this nice big circular head because I think it's gonna work really well. And we're gonna just kind of go off of our image. And we're just gonna make 2 lines, one to kind of show us the brim of his hat, and then one to outline where his beard would go. So I'm gonna pick a spot kind of right around the middle. Like imagine, like let's think about where his ears would be. So we're gonna make him only have 1 ear to really kind of play into his narrative. And we're just gonna have him have that ear here, okay? And we're gonna draw a little bit of like a sloping part of a circle and make a kind of a curve that would go up to where the other ear is, okay? And that's gonna be the part of his beard that goes like that. And then we're gonna make this kind of big scooping, like U shape to really fill out his beard. And we're gonna start around here and just go all the way down and then do the same thing on that side. Connect it there. Okay, so we're getting his beard. And again, remember, you're using a pencil, I'm using a marker just so you can see the lines. All right, and now I wanna make the brim of his hat. So we're kind of follow the same shape and we go a little bit above the ear. So we'll make it from around here and make a little scoop, kind of the same way this line is going. Pretty close, yeah, that's pretty close. And so that'll be the brim of his hat. Now, we wanna make the parts of the brim to stick out. So we're gonna draw 2 lines like that, just kind of following the circle. And then we're gonna make a giant dome at the top, okay? Doesn't quite look like exactly how we want, but we're heading there. And we're gonna connect these 2 points here, kind of following the same shape. So that shape is following that shape. And you can see all the lines are kind of going in the same direction, those 3 at least, okay? Now we're gonna make a little opening for his mouth. We're gonna find the center spot and just do a nice straight line. And then another U, we love the U. And that's kind of his face, okay? We're gonna add his hair here. We're gonna add his hair going down the side of his head here. And we've pretty much finished his face. Now he's famous for painting sunflowers, so we're gonna add that to his clothing to kind of help drive the point home that this is Vincent Van Gogh. So I want to make a little V under his chin, because that's going to be kind of where his shirt is. So imagine if I didn't have a shirt here, it would be like this. So we're making that little V. And then we're going to keep this really simple. We're going to start from here, and we're just going to, and same thing over here, and we're going to just follow the V. So we're going to go that way, and then we're going to go this way. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. We're going to follow the V, and we're going to go this way, and then that way, okay? It's kind of like we're making his jacket. All right. Now, I want to add that sunflower, which is really easy. We're just going to draw a circle. Hopefully you can see that yet. My circle is a little lopsided, but you got it. A little circle there. And we're just going to put some triangles all the way around on the outside. So like this, like this, like this, and just keep making it all the way around. And just a reminder, you're using your pencil, so you can now kind of erase these lines that are kind of in the way. And I'm gonna... All right, so let's pretend I had my eraser and I erased all those little extra lines, and we're kind of left with this image. So a couple little details you're going to want to add. You can sketch this or add it after you paint, but I think it'll be good because he's often depicted wearing like a straw hat. So we're going to make this hat have a little more texture, and we're just going to do that with some just basic straight lines. So I'm going to draw a line here, here, and here, and we're going to just kind of make X's across these lines. We're going to go 1. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but it gives us this idea that there's some texture there. And I'm going to add another line all the way around here, kind of to give us a little more detail on his hat. Yeah, it would just be a straight line or like a curved line going all the way around. And a few more little details that'll be good to add. Either you can sketch it in now with your pencil, or you can add it in with paint later, is we're going to try to make this look more like a jacket. So we're going to just add some dotted lines, and we're going to go like this, then make like a little lapel collar and go like that. And we can do the same thing on the other side. So try to kind of mirror it on both sides. Flowers in the way a little, but now we're going to go like this. So it makes it look like there's a little bit of a collar. And feel free to keep the background simple. You can paint it all one color. Or I know you probably did the session last year, and maybe there's some similar techniques you're learning this year with some of the other teachers and doctors who were teaching you how to paint. But you can also remember how Van Gogh did a lot of lines. So if I like the idea of blue, and I would probably paint this background blue like the image, and then maybe add more of these dotted lines to kind of remind us of some of his famous paintings like Starry Night and some of the other ones where he did this kind of technique. And I'd probably do the same over here. So just for some added detail. But again, remember, we're doing simple shapes. We're not doing anything too detailed or difficult. It doesn't necessarily have to be perfect. But yeah, and then you've got your sketch done in pencil. So now when you're ready to paint, my first suggestion is paint the background first. So I would paint this whole thing blue to start, and then start working on the figure himself. These little details I would add in at the very end, and I'd probably use orange for his beard, yellow for the hat, and then kind of use the same colors like orange and yellow for the flower, and different shades of blue for the jacket. You don't necessarily want this jacket to be a type of blue that's also this same color, because otherwise it's not going to have enough contrast. So just different shades of blue are going to work much better. And it's up to you. If you want, when you're totally finished, you can leave it like this, fully painted, or you can go back in and outline everything in black paint as well. It's a little more tedious, a little bit more work, but it's really whatever you want. So you can see in my reference image, I didn't do that for Van Gogh, but in some of the other ones I did. So it's whatever your preference is, okay? Can't wait to see what you make. Well, I hope you're happy with your painting, and don't worry if you're not. Just remember, it's all about simple shapes, and there's enough details in these images that people can figure out who they are. So I wanted to just quickly give you some tips before you start painting. So my art teacher always says paint from the back to the front. So that's why I mentioned when you're drawing, at the end of those videos, I said, let's start with the background first when you want to paint. It just makes it easier. So always think back to front. So you're going to do the background first, then you're going to work on the person. And then any little details like little dotted lines or sunflowers or the lines on Van Gogh's hat, all of those things are the last thing you're going to paint. I wanted to quickly just give you a couple other tips. So when it comes to making flesh tones, I'm going to recommend two options. If you're painting Kusama, Van Gogh, or Andy Warhol, I would mix the yellow ochre with the white, but you're going to have mostly white with a little bit of yellow ochre. So just mix it a little bit because they all have similar skin tones. The one that will be a little different will be Frida. So for her, I would actually mix white with raw sienna. So it's a little bit darker, but start with the light first. So add white to your plate or whatever you're using to hold your paint, and then add just a little bit of the darker color at a time. Because if you put too much of this, you're going to have to use the whole tube of white. So start with the lighter one first and add your darker color into it. For everything else, I think you can match the colors. You have an awesome color palette with all the paints you have available. So I was looking through them, and these are perfect for Van Gogh. All the blues, they work. So from the shirt under his jacket to the jacket to the background, these work. Also for Van Gogh, you may want to mix a little bit of orange and yellow to get his beard, because his beard isn't really fully orange and it's definitely not blonde like yellow. So I would do a little bit of yellow and add a little bit of orange at a time to where you get like a light orange for his beard, and that'll be great for him. And then for Frida, one of the colors that I have on the actual image that we're sharing is pink. So you can do that two ways. You can use red, the red that you have, which is crimson, and you can mix that into white to get pink, like a light pink. You can also try the magenta with pink, either way. So just keep in mind, start more with the lighter color if you're trying to mix, and add a little bit of dark into it. It'll just make it easier and your paint will go last longer. The last thing I would suggest is, you can see in my painting here, this is an old painting I did of Kusama, and that's a very old painting. I think it's actually one of the first paintings I did back in 2018 of Frida Kahlo. It doesn't exactly look like her, but I still like the painting because I painted it a long time ago. And for both, you can see I made like these really bold black lines outlining, like here it's her shirt, here I outlined her hair. So you can do that, but I would do that at the very end. After you finish painting, you can go in with some black paint and make those lines. You don't have to. But if that's something that you want to try or it looks interesting, go ahead and try it. The very last point I'm going to suggest is if you are interested in actually adding a face to these images, like eyes, a nose, or lips, feel free. I think they kind of work this way, but they can definitely work with more features. So I'll leave that up to you if you want to go in and add more details. But my goal was to make sure that we focused on simple shapes and that you guys had fun. And if you feel like stressed out about adding eyes and if they're not perfect, don't worry, go back, paint over it, and just go back to what you had before. But either way, I hope you have fun, and thanks for joining me. I can't wait to see what you make. Bye.